Naba Muhyiddin is in Port Sudan in Sudan. She joins us live now for more. Naba, what has been the reaction in Sudan to the UNSC session?
Thanks, Benina. Actually, while the international reaction to the UN Security Council session was very positive and widely accepted, as all of the parties and regional players and regional mediators are echoing the same concerns of UN Security Council regarding the atrocities and violations in Sudan, and the fact that an urgent resolution to the Sudanese crisis is needed in Sudan. The political parties also, they are echoing the same concerns of UN Security Council, while the Sudanese armed forces and the RSF, of course, they are expected to not easily accept the proposal by the UN Security Council. So the session, of course, is very successful and highlight the crisis in Sudan. But we are expecting the continuation of the fighting, especially right now in Kordofan, as it's the new battlefield. The Sudanese armed forces are criticized of being preconditioned, so they will put conditions for any resolutions in sight, while the RSF are not binding to any agreement and continue hostilities, and they are accused of atrocities against civilians and wide-range atrocities. So in Sudan, there is a reaction to the UN Security Council session, but we are not expecting a tangible impacts of that, as it seems like the problem is not in the platforms that highlighting the Sudanese crisis. There is a lot of platforms, including the UN Security Council, many initiatives and mediation initiatives, but there is a consensus of what is the crisis and the violations against civilians and the urgency of protecting civilians. But it seems like there is no binding resolutions and binding ways to force peace in Sudan unless the two parties decide this and come to negotiation tables.
Naba, what more can you tell us about this proposed plan by the Prime Minister Kamil Idris?
Actually, Benina, the proposed plan by Kamil Idris is not new. It's just he rephrased the initial plan by the Sudanese army, and the same conditions the Sudanese army have pushed in Jeddah platform and in any other mediation initiative. The first thing is to withdraw all of the rapid support forces, all of their forces and troops, and gather them in supervised camps and disarm them under the supervision of the United Nations, Arab League, and African Union. So it's not new. It's the same condition the Sudanese military have already put before, and now Kamil Idris have taken these conditions to the UN Security Council. So it seems like it's the same conditions, and we are expecting the same reaction by the rapid support forces, because it seems like the Sudanese government and the government forces and the civilian-led government by Kamil Idris, these are the conditions by the army. There is no talks and no negotiations with the RSF while they are occupying cities, and they are extending their rule in Western Sudan. So unless they are gathered in certain and supervised camps and disarmed, there is no negotiation table. So Sudanese people and analysts believe this will hinder any peace efforts in the near future.
All right, Naba, thank you for that update. Naba Muhyiddin live for us there in Port Sudan. Let's widen this conversation. We now bring in Yakani Edmund, a political analyst based in Juba, South Sudan. Mr. Edmund, thank you very much for joining us. What are your thoughts on this proposed peace plan by Sudan's Prime Minister?
Thank you for having me. I think one of the challenges that is going to face this proposal of the Prime Minister, which is in principle sounds good, sounds okay, but the question is the political attitudes of the leaders of the warring parties in Sudan. Both sides, Sudan government and Rapid Support Force, believe that any peace plan should not be based on win-win approach. Each of them is looking at win-loss approach. So likely RSF is going to look at this proposal as a proposal of the Sudan government, and RSF will look at it from the angle of win-loss approach, which is not win-win approach, and the same way how Sudan government look at the U.S. proposal. And you can see how U.S. responded to the precondition of immediately without any excuse. So this plan is likely to die upon proposal if the political attitudes of Sudan warring parties is not changed. Because I've been in Sudan before, and I know both leaders, Burhan and Himeti, and specifically when I was working with IRC in Darfur, both of them are radicals. Until they change their political attitude, any peace proposal, any peace plan for Sudan may not go through.
But when you look at it, how realistic is it and how would it work?
In terms of its content, in setting up a milestones, protection of civilians, reconciliation, making sure that ceasefire holds, and ensuring that safety and security of Sudanese citizens is taken into account, return of being refugees or IDPs, it sounds good, but it sounds good on paper. On reality is determined by the political attitudes that each leader and its members of the warring parties look at the plan. And this plan is not unique from other plans that have failed before, almost speak to the same plans that have failed before. So Sudanese crisis is mainly the attitudes of their leaders, specific leaders of the warring parties. They believe their personal interest is above peace and security for the common citizen of Sudan.